Okay, guys, how's it going? So, I may not have uploaded it yet, but we went to New Orleans Sunday and Monday, and it is now Tuesday. And of course, I have a ton of stuff to do. We never closed during the weekday, and we did because I wanted to go to New Orleans. And if you haven't seen the video yet, I should eventually have it up. It's got a lot of cool hardware from a place we visited. But anyway, I've got a Yamaha ignition here, and normally I'm able to use my decoders. I've got Yamaha or motorcycle decoders, but unfortunately those things are kind of expensive, and I kind of like buy them as I need them. And I've got most of the major ones now, Kawasaki, and all those other motorcycles. I've got like 4 of them, but I don't have the one for the YM63 or the sport bike. So we're gonna have to do it the hard way. First of all, we're gonna always look all over for a set of digits that may or may not be a code, and typically there's not gonna be on these, but if you look carefully, sometimes you're surprised. And the only numbers we have on this is 2Z20, which is not a valid code. The Z20 is not. Sometimes you can even drop the number. 2Z2, none of that is an effective code, because these use a like something through 8,000. So the person brought the ignition in. That was their issue. It is in the off position. On these, you turn it on and off, or you push it in to lock the steering wheel. And when the steering wheel is locked, that keeps you from easily towing off the bike. So we're already missing one cap over here. We're going to go ahead and pull this other cap off. Because I don't have this particular reader, we have to do this the hard way, unfortunately. Now, after I pop that cap off, you're going to see what looks like broken screw heads, and those are shear head bolts that you commonly find in old foreign cars. And they were always upside down, and you had to get up under there and tap it out. But you can take a screwdriver. Let's say this was stuck on a bike, and one of the most common ways to do it would be to get like a scribe and sit there and grab it in the corner and try to tap it out that way. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Here it's not working. So here what I do, and even though it does put little notches on it, I'm going to spin the camera around to the Dremel. And with the Dremel, we're going to put on our eye protection, because these things are wildly dangerous. And we're going to slot it, and we're going to slot it, and then simply unscrew it like a flathead screw. Got that one okay. Hopefully. Trying to do this in camera frame, it's kind of tough. Alright, tear up my seat. So now let's turn this back around. Let's see if we were able to get them cut enough to get apart. Now it's very important, because we have that weird little cut there. Oh, alright, it's very important that we use a good size screwdriver, and in my opinion this one is not. And I'm trying to find my screwdriver that has a little bit wider tip, because I don't want it to break that or strip it out. So I am going to keep looking. It's like all my screwdrivers up here are not the ones I need. Maybe. Yeah, that may get up in there. Looks like it's just enough. Alright. So, you're gonna being careful of this wire. It's your wiring harness. Sometimes it'd be best. I don't know if I can get it out of camera here, but let's move it back. That way I'm not pressing down and binding that wire up. So I'm gonna drop it off the side here and get my screwdriver in there. Oh. Oh, tore it. My screwdriver's not going in that way. Alright, let's try the other side. Alright, so we need to go a little bit deeper. Let's come back over here. And also, those are usually Loctited in, so that presents a problem. But I feel like I need to go a little bit more with this. Okay, spin her back around. I'm actually going to pause it to go find a good screwdriver. This one, the tip is kind of rounded, so be right back on that. That should have been something I had ready, but I forgot about it. Okay, now we're having an issue, and it's probably because these are Loctited in, and they're usually hammer done. And so we're having a problem getting these out without stripping these heads. I got a screwdriver that is pretty good. So what I'm going to do here is, let's move it to right there, remembering our wire. So I'm going to take this, make sure it's steady. Sometimes requires 3 hands. Give it a little tap. I'm going to try the pressure again by kind of bearing down on it. Now this is where you hurt your hand. This is where it falls, the screwdriver slips out and jabs into your hand. So that's one of those things you don't want to do. All right, hold on. You got an idea now? No. Now I'm going to entrust my wife to do something here. Come here, babe. Sometimes you need extra hands. I could clamp this up. Actually, hold on. Hold on, babe. Let's go clamp this in a... Hey, babe. We're going to go clamp this in a vise, and then we may need to get her to do some stuff here. So basically now we got to beat the hell out of it to try to get these off.
Is this screw strip?
No, these are held in. They're broken. When the screws tighten down, it breaks the screw head off, so you're not allowed to take it back apart. Kind of like old car keys were. And unfortunately, that's just how it was. So you want to be real careful when you're clamping this in a vise, because you don't want to warp anything, obviously, but it needs to be firm enough to accept some whacking, which we are about to do there. Can you see that? Yeah, we can see that. Let me get some whacking tools. Everybody needs whacking tools. Alright, so now we're doing what you have to do on a car to get these out. Not like that. Not like that. Probably should have checked the stability a little bit better. So let's go here. The only bad thing about these is they're not, it's not like a square. You can't just clamp it up. Let's try it this way. Okay, looks like it'll hold. Let's try that again. A little bit more gentle. Ah, there we go. You didn't see that. I don't know if you saw it, but the screw moved on us. That's what we're looking for. Once we got it moving, we broke that bind, so we should just be able to unscrew it there. And there we go on the other one. Alright, that took a little bit longer than I meant for it to, but let's go back over here. Oh, hey, alright, didn't need the heat gun. Oh no, the heat gun may have loosened it up. So we'll go back to this driver, because these should just unscrew. Like regular screws now. And since they have the slots in them, we can screw them back down. It'll be lock washer. The lock washer was probably holding this up. Alright, so once we get that done, the cap comes off like so. And then there's going to be a floating, it just kind of floats on top like that. And of course it's right in line with the keyway. So in this position, the core will only come out in one position, and it is in this position. So we're able to get the core out. So if it was locked, if it was in the locked position, number one, the person who took it off would have a hell of a time getting it off, because when it's in the locked position, the wheel's this way, it's hard getting to the wiring harness and to the bolts that actually hold it in. And if it was locked, we would actually have to pick the lock to the off position to be able to get that out. And picking it is difficult because it's spring loaded. You have to push the key in and then turn it. So you can actually, and I found a trick a long time ago, is you take some shims, some regular lock shims, and if you run it down, it's not going to shim perfectly, but if you take your pick and you manipulate the wafers, you can run the shim down into two sides, and will allow you sometimes to totally shim it from both sides and manage to get it back if you have trouble getting it picked to the right position. But luckily it's not, it's just in the off position, so that's going to save the customer some money. Pull your core out, you've got your spring there, you don't want to lose that spring. And basically you have 7 wafers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Basically you have 8 wafers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this back wafer is what I guess like a tip stop, I think is tip stop wafer. So then we come over here to our trusty 1200. I do not have a card for Yamaha. I have not bought one yet, so I just use a micrometer card, like so, and use a printout of the Yamaha specs, which basically is 152, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 50. And then the depths being no cut for 1, a little bit more for 2, a little bit more than that for 3, and then a little bit more than that for 4. So that is the technical way to put it. So we get our YM63, also have the rubber head version, gonna stick it in there. That last 1/8 wafer right there, that is the tip cut. That's why it has what looks like a cut already there, which is pretty much a 4 wafer. So now simply all we do is when we have the key put in there, you see the tip wafer is already done. And then we just decode it by looking at how far the depths are. You could take the wafers out, but I don't think these are numbered. So basically what we do is look at the heights of each one. And if we look kind of closely at this one, we'll see it is a 1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 1. So we take that, we come down here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. This key, no, that key. I thought it had a flaw in the key. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. Starting our cuts off at 158. 158. It's a 1 cut, so we're going to skip it. 257, 255, 6, 7 is a 2 cut, which is 276. So we got 276. On motorcycle, I like to let that let it do this a little bit. I like to get it real smooth. Motorcycles like it real smooth. So then we're gonna go to 355. 355 was a, what did I say, a 3? So that's 256. 256. That's a little bit deeper than number 2, in case you couldn't figure that out. Let it ride, let it ride. Alright, so then we're going to go to the 4th position, which is, don't do that, 453. 453, the 4th position was, what was it, 132? We're going to do a 2 again, which is 276. 276. And then we have 121, right? Is that what I said earlier? I think so. Okay, so 1 is the next one. That's 550. We're going to go ahead and skip to 650 or 649, which is close enough to 650 to make it count, which is a number 2. Whoa, what's the number 2 cut? Smooth, baby, smooth. Smooth enough. Now, again, we do a lot of motorcycles, and I'm very particular with motorcycles, so... Hey, how are you?
How's it going?
Good. Be right with you. So, I'm going to cut the rest of this key and not talk to myself so the customer doesn't think I'm crazy. So, 158, 257, was a 2, so 276. 355, and that was a 3, so we're knocking it down to 256. Next one was a 2, right? Yeah, we need over here. 453 is a 2. 76, and then we got 121 left. So, 2 again. 276. And the last one is a 1. So we're pretty much done with this key. There, right. Okay, so we got our key done, and we're going to knock off the rough edges with a file. And then give it a good brushing. Which is back over here. And grab our plug. Let's see if it fits in the plug before we move away. Alright. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, maybe not so beautiful. Maybe we need to go deeper. One of the things about motorcycle locks is they can be very tricky on the depths. So basically we had our ones right, but the other ones were wrong. So basically it was going to be this. I thought it was 1 2 3 2. It's actually 1 3 4 3 1 3. So got to go back and knock that down on both sides. One reason why it is so difficult to eyeball or sight read these, because very, very close depths that are hard to tell even in freshman. So we're knocking the 2 down to a 3, which is 256. Alright, then we're knocking the 3 down to a 4, which is 236. Knocking the next one down from a 2 to a 3 after we get on 453. 3 is 256. And skip all the way to number 6 cut, which I thought was a 2, but it's a number 3. So that would be a 256. And we're going to have to jump that over to the other side real quick. I like cutting both sides on. You can duplicate the other side, but I prefer always with motorcycles because they're so finicky to just cut it on both sides. So 4 was 236. 455 was 256. And then we're skipping to 650, which was a 256 again. Alright. Reach over here, brush off that. And then check and see where we're at. Should work now, otherwise we're going to have to start all over. And we have correct cuts. So moving it back over here, simple matter of putting your spring back in, slipping your core down in there, and there's kind of only one way it'll go in. That's not the way, so it must be on the other side. So we'll flip it over. There we go. So on, off, in, lock, in, unlock, on, off. Take your key, pull it out, put your cap on, lining up with that. Cap it here. Take you a Sharpie. And you could always fill this in with, if you wanted to, you could fill it in with putty. Looks like it was a little scratched up around it anyway. But again, not overly necessary. You just want to keep that from getting turning on you. And it really doesn't matter if he would have had both caps, but he didn't have both caps, so I'll make sure and give it a little black coat. I let him know how it had to be done. It's just how it has to be done, which is one good thing about the reader. So this one has definitely been on my list for a while, and I don't care to do this. I could have been done 20 minutes ago with the reader, at least 15 minutes ago with the reader, and not have had to do all this. But readers have not existed forever, whereas motorcycles have. So this would be how you actually do it if you don't have a reader on hand to make it easier. And we find that same screwdriver. Where'd I put it? I put it over here. We'll grab that other screwdriver to make sure it's good and tightened down on, and check your key. Okay. It's still tight. Tight. Get a good lock on that ring. All right, let's cap this one. And there we go. After you cap it, there's almost no obvious indication of that. And get our key. On, off. On. Off. On, off. In. Lock. Now the steering wheel will be locked. In. Unlock. On. Off. So, another bike back on the road after we verify paperwork, ownership of it, and cut another key, and we are good. So thanks for watching this video, and any questions, let me know. But that is how one used to do it without the wonderful little readers that they have now. So now I'm going to write on my list, Yamaha reader, get the dang thing. Thanks for watching, guys.